right, hello all you cool cats and kittens. This is your friend Mr. Guzman. We are at Mr. Guzman's Art Studio. It is Wednesday, April 16th, 2020. We're still part of this COVID-19 staycation where we're all huddled up trying to stay safe and clean. If you happen to glance out the window today, it really doesn't look very much like April. It looks like January. Looks like we should get our Christmas decorations out even earlier in the year, in December, something weird like that. But it is April, and I promise you those flowers are trying to grow. Today's drawing is all about our hands. Our hands are one of the most important parts of our body, especially right now, because we've got to keep them clean, okay? Hot water, hand sanitizer, and soap. Washing your hands many, many times a day. I know everyone in this house does, and I bet everyone in your house is keeping their hands clean as well. When we're blowing our nose, when we're coughing and sneezing, you gotta run over and wash your hands when you're done with that, okay? Before you eat, after you eat, wash those hands, because when we eat, sometimes a little bit of our finger gets into our mouth. Wash those hands. That's how we keep everyone safe and keep everyone from getting sick. Remember, you're staying out of your large groups, and we're keeping clean. Today's drawing today is going to be about our hands, okay? And keeping our hands clean. We're going to be tracing our hand. Now, in a situation like this, it might be good to have mom or dad or a big brother or sister help us, because tracing one hand is not that hard. Now, remember, this is for kindergarten, first and second. So if you're an older kid, go ahead and watch, that's fine. But the next video is actually more geared towards you. So kindergarten, first and second, when we're tracing our hand, the first one might not be that difficult. It's the second one that we're gonna need help with maybe. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand right there, and I'm gonna take my marker. Maybe you've got a pencil, maybe you've got a crayon, it doesn't matter what you have. We're gonna go ahead right here, and we're gonna carefully trace around our hand. I'm keeping those fingers spread open because it just looks better when our fingers are spread open like that. Now you'll see I've got this big open spot right here at the bottom where my wrist would go. That's no big deal. We just close that off. And now we're done with that hand. Now, one of the cool parts about this project is when things cross over each other. That's the theme of today's drawing, when things cross over. I need to make sure that when I trace my second hand here, that something on this hand crosses over something on that hand. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that finger there crosses over right onto the thumb of this finger. The finger crosses over onto the thumb, and I'm going to go ahead and use my other hand to trace it. Maybe you can have mom or dad help you with this part, but we're going to very carefully trace around this finger. If you're using a marker, try not to get marker all over your fingers, but you're washing your hands so much, it won't be that big of a deal. And I bring that over, and then I round that off just like that. All right, so I've got my two hands, and I've got this really cool, that's my favorite part of it right there, the part where both pieces cross over each other and it makes a brand new shape. We're gonna come back to that in a second. One thing we need to add to this is a bar of soap. So we're gonna go ahead right across just like this, and we can bring this on down, and this on down, and bring this over, and there is our bar of soap. And that bar of soap is what you would be using to wash your hands, to keep your hands nice and clean. You've got to use water out of that faucet, so we'll go ahead and get some big old drops of water. And I love it when the drops cross over the fingers. They don't all have to. Maybe that one crosses over the soap. We can come over here. There's some more drops of water. You can do as many drops of water as you want. Now remember, if Mr. Guzman's going too fast for you, you are allowed to stop the video, pause it, and rewind and watch it again so you'll see what I did. I don't think I'm going too fast, but maybe I am, so I apologize for that. When you suds up with the soap, you're gonna make bubbles. So we're gonna go ahead and add some bubbles. And a bubble is just a circle. That's no big deal. You can draw a circle. Go ahead and put some circles around. Those are just suds bubbles from all that soap. Now that is plenty to start off with. That's plenty to start off with. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna change colors now. And that is when you get out your box of crayons. Now, in Mr. Guzman's art room back at the school, we don't dump our crayons out all over the place. But here in the art studio, when we're on our COVID-19 staycation, you are allowed to dump out your crayons as long as you put them back when you're done. You want to go ahead and find some sort of a blue color for this next part. And you're going to want to use probably a couple different kinds of blue. But I want to see the spots like the water drops. Now, I'm not going to color the whole water drop because you see that this part right here, if you can zoom in right there, there is a spot right here where the water drop crosses over the finger. And this part right here is what I'm talking about right there. See, I didn't color all of the water drop. I only colored the part that crossed over. Here's a water drop over here, and maybe I'm only going to color this part of it. That gets interesting. I like that. On these water drops, you can go and just color parts of them. You don't have to color the whole water drop, especially if it crosses over into the soap or into the fingers. Okay? Also, while you've got that blue, you might decide to go ahead and start coloring in parts of the bubbles, because bubbles are going to be kind of bluish in color too. And we can go ahead and color parts of the bubbles. We can go ahead and change colors. Maybe we want to grab a green now. That's fine. Some bars of soap out there I've seen are green. You can go ahead and remember, when it crosses over into another shape, it becomes a whole new piece that needs to be colored on its own. So I'm not coloring the whole bar of soap green like this. All right. Maybe I want to do one of the bubbles green. You could do that. My marker got a little bit dirty right there. That happens. That's no big deal. That's no big deal. So I think you're starting to get the idea. And then you can go ahead and grab even another color and start coloring in those fingers. Remember that first part where the finger crossed over the other finger, definitely you want to color that differently than you would color the rest of the hand. Like that. And you can keep on going, and it doesn't matter what colors you use at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide on over to my drawing table over here now. And what I've got here is what we just drew over there. I did it a little bit differently, but it's basically the same. I've got the hands, and I've got a thumb that crosses over into the other hand, and a thumb here that crosses over into the other hand, a bar of soap, all those bubbles and drops of water, and you can get your crayons out like we said before, and we can get started getting coloring on this. We can start coloring up the water drops and parts of the bubbles and parts of the soap. This is, like I was saying, maybe one of those instances where you want to slow down the video so you can get caught up. So you can change colors at any point. If you want to color parts of the hand, like here's part of this thumb that crossed over into the other hand, and we need to make sure that all the little shapes get colored up real nice. We can even change up and say that maybe this thumb is orange. Now, I don't know any orange folks, but maybe you want to make some of the fingers orange. That's your business, not mine. You color it up the way you want to. So what I've got underneath here is one way it might look after you get it finished. See here, I went ahead and I made that finger pink. Oh, on this one, I made it brown. You can change it up any way you want to. I used different kinds of blue for the bar of soap. Okay. I used skin tones for the hands, bubbles, and water and bubbles. And here is even another version of it where it says, wash those hands. So we definitely want to write that on there somewhere. Wash those hands, because that's the whole point to all of this. We have hands crossing over each other. We've got our bar of soap. We've got our bubbles. I don't have any water drops on this one. Mr. Guzman, holy cow. I need to make sure and get some water drops on this one. So if you're in kindergarten, first or second, that is basically what it is today. It's taking our hands, placing them over each other, tracing them, making sure they cross over, get a bar of soap somewhere, get some bubbles, and get some water drops. Everywhere it crosses over, you're going to color them differently, and this would make a great sign for you to tape up to your bedroom door to make sure people in your house stay clean. You could take the sign that we just drew and put it on the bathroom door if you want. Or put it up in the kitchen, places where people are washing their hands a lot. Okay? This has been your friend, Mr. Guzman, Mr. Guzman's Art Studio. We will see kindergarten, first and second again next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, right here on YouTube and anywhere else that you might be seeing this. Mr. Guzman misses you and loves you. I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.